Welcome to Higher Health, the podcast that elevates your understanding of health beyond the conventional into a realm where mind, body, and spirit align. If you're ready to rise above the noise of traditional health approaches and connect deeply with your inner wisdom, you're in the right place. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Rodgers, a heart-centered, Harvard-trained epidemiologist, researcher, medical intuitive, and transformational health and longevity expert. In this space, we explore the profound journey of health and well-being, where every choice aligns with your highest self. Together, we'll unlock the true essence of being healthy, empowered, and whole. Welcome back to Higher Health with Dr. Elizabeth Rodgers, the show where we rise above outdated paradigms and remember what it really means to be healthy, mind, body, and spirit. I'm your host, Dr. Elizabeth Rodgers, and today we're talking about something really powerful, practical, and deeply personal, your health baseline. We're going beyond blood pressure and lab work to uncover the energetic tone you are setting for your life, whether you know it or not. I'm so happy to be here connecting with you in this month of September 2025. How in the world did we get here? No one seems to know, including me. And please bear with me and excuse the potential perception of the difference in my tone of voice today. As this show goes on, you will hear my voice display itself in a wide range of ways. However, today, the difference in my voice is due to just some throat stuff going on. So please bear with me. And if any of you are out there dealing with any symptoms, issues, or setbacks today, please know that I understand more than you could ever know. And I know exactly what it feels like. And I want you to know that no matter where you are today, and no matter how you're feeling, you are healthy. You can be healthy while you heal, while you recover, while you take care of yourself. And in fact, that has everything to do with what we're talking about today, your personal health baseline. So with that being said, let's reflect, breathe, and reconnect together. What's your health? What's your health baseline? We all have one. I do. And you do too, even if you've never, ever thought about it before now. That's what we're talking about today. It's such a cool and unique perspective I'm really excited to offer you that I hope will help you create higher health and experience optimal longevity. That's really my goal with anything I share here, because the truth is, nobody can fix you. There's only one person in the world who can fix you, who can help you, who can heal you, and that's you. And your ability to do that and your perception of whether that's easy or difficult, it all comes down to your personal health baseline. You know, in the research science world, when we do a study, we always measure a baseline. A baseline is like your starting point or your ground zero. When we do an ethical, methodologically sound, well-intentioned research study, we always measure this baseline. For research or health purposes, the baseline helps us observe real progress or changes over time. Depending on the purpose of the research, to learn your baseline, we'll assess your health status by taking a range of different kinds of measurements like blood work, questionnaires and interviews, lab tests, and basic things like blood pressure. I've been a part of studies where we took X-rays and MRI scans, measured heart rate variability, and when I worked on an amazing longitudinal study of knee and hip osteoarthritis called OAI, or the Osteoarthritis Initiative, I did clinical exams on knees and hips as part of your baseline. Now, collectively, these measurements will represent your baseline or your starting point and will help us learn about the changes you experience over time. For research purposes, we'll be able to use your baseline as data to analyze qualitatively or quantitatively, as long as you consulted and gave your permission for researchers to do so. When you meet a doctor or other health practitioner for the first time, and you fill out your paperwork, answer their questions, and they take measurements or information of any kind from you, they're also using that information as your baseline. Then as you return over time for appointments or checkups, that baseline of where you started, it always matters. When I think about it in terms of your personal health baseline, I feel like another way to define it is that it's where you're operating from. It's the energy or tone or frequency at which you tend to operate from and, as a result, return to. We can make this really simple and put it into higher health terms. Your baseline is either connection or disconnection. You're either operating from a place or energy or frequency or attitude of connection or disconnection. So, how do you know what your health baseline is right now? Let's figure it out together. An easy way to get an idea of what your personal health baseline is right now is to simply look back on how you started your day today. Let's consider these questions. How did you start your day today? And I mean very, very specifically, how exactly did you start your day? If you're able to do so safely right now, close your eyes. Let's take a deep breath in together. And a deep breath out through the mouth. Let all that junk you don't need to hang on to go. Let yourself get present. Take another deep breath in. Fill your lungs all the way up to the bottom. And another deep breath out. Let it all go and let your lungs get empty. One more deep breath in. Take your time. And one more big deep breath out, long and slow. Allow yourself to go back to the moment you woke up today. Can you see yourself? How did you wake up? Was it an alarm with a sound that makes you feel anxious and jolts you out of your sleep? What was that exact moment like? Before you even got out of bed, watch yourself and observe the very first thing you did. Really watch yourself. Did you reach for your phone and start scrolling or checking emails or notifications? Did you immediately go into prayer or daily gratitude work or meditation? Notice the very first thing you did. Then notice how it made you feel. Were you disconnected or were you connected? Now, what did you do next? Did you hit snooze and give yourself permission for extra rest if that was a possibility and what you knew you needed? Did you rush to take care of someone else first instead of yourself? Really get honest with yourself. Allow yourself to see. Did you feel grounded and present when you took that next action? Or were you just going through the motions you go through without thinking about it? How did you feel? Were you connected or were you disconnected? Now, what did you do next? Did you hydrate yourself because you're mostly made of water and it's essential to your optimal health? Did you start multitasking while you had some caffeine? How did you feel? Were you connected or were you disconnected? Did you move your body? If so, how did you move your body? Really watch yourself. How did it feel? How did it feel when you were moving your body? Do you even know how you felt? Or were you too distracted to notice? Were you connected? Or were you disconnected? Feel how you feel. Feel how you feel. And again, feel how you feel. Let's take another deep breath in. And another deep breath out through the mouth. Let it go. One more deep breath in. Let it go through your mouth. Exhale. Let yourself come back to this present moment right here, right now. Back to your body. Welcome back, my friends. I wonder what you noticed. I encourage you to journal about this to support your own growth and higher health. Doesn't have to be right now. Maybe later when you have some space for yourself and some privacy and quiet to be present. Maybe when the kids go to bed. Maybe before you go to bed. Make some space for yourself. I invite you to do that today. My examples about baselines in research demonstrate a similarity I can draw out for you. Just like in research, there are a wide range of ways to measure a baseline. There are a wide range of ways you can evaluate and understand your own personal health baseline too. And overall, that wide range of ways, that wide range of measurements, they tell your baseline story. It's your story. I wonder what story your baseline is telling. Is it the story you want to tell? As you noticed on our mini journey together, when you revisited your morning today, you did more than just wake up. You went through a whole series of choices and actions to get through the morning. Now, you can use any single one of them to reflect on your own personal health baseline. But I do encourage you to look at the bigger picture, not just one isolated moment or choice. In research and practice, we like to look at a group of measurements together as your baseline because it's a more accurate reflection of your reality and reduces the likelihood for bias or incorrect assumptions. For example, let's say all we used to evaluate your baseline was your blood pressure and we ignored everything else. Today, your blood pressure was high, but what we didn't bother to learn was that you had a traumatic event in your life recently. You're 20 pounds overweight. You just started therapy. You're walking 3 miles a day as your new movement goal. But we don't know any of that. So now we will make an inaccurate assessment and assumption about your baseline and therefore your health. If I read a research paper about this study, I would tell you it's a bad one. Why? Because the baseline is not best captured by isolating one measurement or action. That's like reading the first chapter of a book and assuming you know the whole story. In research and practice, the best baseline helps tell your story. It's a story told by the collective group of measurements and assessments the researcher or doctor takes. The collection of measurements helps tell your story, and the story tells us about your baseline. You verbally fill in the gaps and further explain the story when you talk to the researchers or practitioners. Your own personal health baseline is the same. So rather than choosing just one thing you did this morning and deciding what your baseline is as a result of that one choice or action you made, I encourage you to reflect on the entire morning. It tells a story about you and your current health baseline, your current starting point. Maybe you did grab your phone first thing this morning, but it was to cancel your 9 a.m. appointment because you woke up feeling unwell, and then you spent extra time taking care of yourself. The point of this conversation is not for you to judge yourself like a critic or a witch hunter. It's simply to reflect and notice who and how you are being while you are doing what you do, so you can decide if this baseline feels good to you or if you want to use it to help yourself start to change and grow. Higher health calls for us to be consciously intentional about being healthy and to stop simply going through the motions. It's simply not the same. Higher health calls for us to be intentional when we participate in our health and be present with ourselves so we are aware of who and how we are being. We get to create the health and life of our dreams as long as we decide to take personal responsibility for it. Change does not come from staying inside your comfort zone. It does not come from a place of disconnection. It comes from a place of being intentionally connected to yourself, mind, body, and spirit, and to source, so you can make the choices in alignment with your highest and healthiest self. And it's hard to know what to change if you don't even know what you're doing. Why does this baseline? Why does your personal health baseline even matter? Because it's setting the standard for how you choose to move through the rest of your day. Did you set your standards high this morning? Or did you set them low? In psychology, there's a phenomenon called the lowest common denominator, and some theorize that people have a tendency to align with the lowest common denominator in the room, or the person with the lowest morals. You get to be the denominator that determines your experience of health in this lifetime. You're the one who determines how the rest of your day, your health, your life goes. So if you're starting your day off from a place of multitasking, going through the motions, feeling distracted, scattered, or anxious instead of grounded, present, and confident, then you're setting the denominator, or in other words, you're setting the tone or energy for yourself. And throughout the rest of the day and your life, you'll likely continue to fall back to that denominator or tone or energy that you set at the beginning of the day. Because first you create your habits, and then they create you. And this brings us back to the idea of connection. How did you feel throughout your morning today? Did you even have an awareness of how you were feeling when you were going through the motions you chose to go through? It's not just about what you do. It's about what you do and how you do it. You're either connected or disconnected. Most people do at least one thing they know isn't really the best thing for their health, but they do it anyway for various reasons, often figuring that because they're being, quote, healthy by their own definition most of the time, that it's okay. But is it? Is it really okay? And is that truly being healthy? If you recognize that you're one of the people I'm talking about, and hey, no judgment, I've been there too, this can be an indication of your current personal health baseline. It's clearly one of disconnection. Because when push comes to shove and you're faced with an opportunity to choose a healthy behavior or an unhealthy one, you're making the choice to undermine your own health, even if it's just with what you perceive as one little, quote, cheat, or you tell yourself everything else you do will make up for it. Does it really? Do you know that for sure? When you make a choice to undermine your own health, even with one meal, one cigar, one night of drinking, it's a choice made from a place of disconnection rather than connection. We are coming into a time in the world that calls for us to be and do better. That's what higher health is all about. If you're truly operating from a personal health baseline of connection, which is the foundation of being healthy, then even when faced with the choice to be unhealthy, you will make the choice that's in alignment with your healthiest and highest self, because that's what happens when you're connected to yourself, mind, body, and spirit, and to source. In an upcoming episode, I'll simply talk about what higher health is as a precursor to the book I'll publish for you on this very same topic, so you can always have a resource by your side. Now that you've had a chance to reflect on your morning, I wonder, was this morning for you a reflection of how most mornings go for you? Were you connected or disconnected? And what about your personal health baseline? Are you seeing that you tend to allow yourself to disconnect and fall back on old, outdated, unhealthy behaviors that no longer serve you? Or are you seeing that your connection is guiding your choices and therefore your optimal health and longevity? Reflect on this for yourself. And no matter what you observe, don't judge yourself. Love yourself. Love yourself. I mean, really love yourself. And be grateful. You've given yourself an opportunity to grow and evolve into a better, healthier, and more connected version of yourself. If you're into biohacking or you are at a more evolved phase of your own health journey, which I know a lot of you listening are, then you might already have a personal baseline that involves things like tracking your own health-related activities and measurements related to things like sleep, exercise, circadian rhythms, moon cycles, and much more. This is all great if it's your personal choice that makes you feel good. But you can be a self-proclaimed or actual biohacking expert, and that does not necessarily mean you have a personal health baseline worth applauding. It's not just about what you do. It's about how you do it. Did you do all that biohacking from a place of connection? Or were you disconnected? If you don't know or aren't paying attention to how you feel as you go through your actions and behaviors, it's a good indication that you have a health baseline that's disconnected. Why are you doing all that stuff? Is it because social media said it's trending? Or is it because you saw it's trending on social media, then you did your own research and some independent critical thinking while you checked in with your body and intuition to decide, is this something that I want to do? Is this something that feels right for me and my optimal health? There's a very big and distinct difference there. One way was disconnected, one way was connected. Another reason your health baseline is so important is that, as I mentioned earlier, if you don't know where you're starting from, how will you know what needs to change so you can grow and improve? If you have any one thing you want to improve, whether it's a symptom, an unhealthy habit you know doesn't serve you, or something else, you need to know your baseline so you know what and how you need to change, and so you can hold yourself accountable and see if you're truly making any changes. The best example, or one of the best examples I can share, is one that always stands out in my memory from my time in traditional clinical research. I was working on an amazing study about type 2 diabetes that was researching the effectiveness of two different medications to help reverse and prevent type 2 diabetes. There always needs to be a control group in a randomized clinical trial. And so in this study, the control group was engaging in a lifestyle balance program that helped people change their diet and exercise to lose weight. This trial became famous, and I've talked about it before in other contexts here, because mid-study, we found that the lifestyle program was actually statistically significantly better than both drugs at reversing and preventing type 2 diabetes. So much so that it became unethical not to offer the lifestyle program to everyone in the study. So the trial was temporarily suspended to allow for the adjustment of the study protocol. Of course, I worked on the control arm of the study and got the privilege of working with countless amazing people who joined this study to lose weight and prevent or reverse the onset of type 2 diabetes. As part of the lifestyle program, people had to measure their baseline weight, so we knew where they started. And then, over the course of the study, we measured it at regular intervals to track their progress. People also had to keep a diary of everything they were eating as well as weigh themselves at home. Sometimes people would ask why they have to do that. And my colleagues and I would always tell them, just like I shared here, how will you know what you need to change if you don't know what you're doing? That always clicked with them, and then they'd follow through and see how successful they were. And when they weren't making the progress they wanted, it was easy to look at what they had been doing to determine what needed to change to move the needle. You can do the same thing for yourself. If it's a symptom or pain you want to track, improve, or change, use a simple pain scale from 0 to 10, 0 indicating no pain or symptom, and 10 indicating the worst pain or symptom imaginable. Rate it today, and that's your baseline. Then simply do this daily or more often if you like to start to track your own progress and trends. You can do this with anything, and you can use a 0 to 10 scale, or if you like an alternative for symptoms, you can use none mild, moderate, severe, or extreme, or make something up. There's no right or wrong here. In fact, whatever you decide to do, you're right on time, and you're ultimately doing something that will help you co-create higher health and optimal longevity. Now that you're armed with these insights, I wonder, how are you feeling about your own personal health baseline right now? Is it connected? Or is it disconnected? Does it make you feel like you're co-creating the best and healthiest life for yourself? Or do you feel like you know there are some changes you can make to help yourself grow and improve? No matter how you're feeling, I hope you also feel proud of yourself because you are demonstrating willingness by even bothering to listen to this and reflect on yourself. And willingness is another one of the keys to success in health and life. I also hope you're feeling loving toward the version of yourself that got you here. Because even if they made mistakes, which we all do and will continue to, they will help you learn and grow. And when you're in a frequency of love and willingness to grow, you can only win. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for choosing to reflect, reconnect, and take responsibility for your health in a whole new way. If today's conversation helped you see your baseline with more clarity, please share this episode with someone who's ready to rise into connection and higher health too. And if you are ready to continue to co-create higher health and longevity with guidance and love, then you can head to my website or to my Substack. All of those links you can find in the show notes. Until next time, stay connected to yourself, your source, and your sacred life. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to Higher Health with Dr. Elizabeth Rodgers. If you enjoyed the show today, it would mean so very much to me if you subscribe to the show and leave an honest, positive review. You can easily subscribe by going to the upper right-hand corner of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey, or wherever you listen to podcasts, and press the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner. Also, be sure to sign up for my email list and join my private Substack community to get even more content, value, and support on your health and well-being journey. You'll find these links in the show notes. Sending you so much positive and supportive energy today. I really hope you can feel it.